Hello and welcome back to Plain Brown Wrapper Ministry. My name is Cindy. It's October now, and the leaves are pretty much all blown off the trees, and Halloween is just around the corner. Um, so I was thinking of the history of Halloween. I love history. Um, I like reading about history because you learn from it. We can't see what's ahead of us, but we can know what's behind us. And that's how we can look at our own personal histories and see where God has been in our lives. And when we can trust him for the stuff that's in the back, or when we see what he's done for us in the back, we can trust him for what's coming ahead. And that's when we're facing a trial, that's a good thing to remember too. It's like, it has an end and God will be with us there. So anyway, I thought I would take a little look at the history of Halloween. It has some very interesting um, it has an interesting history. I went to the History Channel online. They had some very good articles about it, and its origins were in the Celtics, which are like the Irish and the Scottish and the Welsh, kind of in the UK there, and they had a tradition. It was a festival called Samhain, and I have trouble with that word because it is spelled totally different than how it's pronounced, and so my uniquely wired brain, which sounds out every letter, is it's not going to work for that. So if I struggle with that word, it's just that's what it was. So and during this festival, the people would light bonfires and wear costumes, and they did it to ward off ghosts. Because back, like some of the ancient peoples, they were very superstitious, and they believed that this time of year, at the end of harvest in fall, the veil between the living and the dead was opened, and yeah, so ghosts could come out, and creatures, ghosts, and things like that. So so for the Celtics, like this Samhain festival was actually their New Year's Eve, and it came at the beginning of winter. Like, then the cold, dark, short days of winter would come, and it would be a little frightening for them. I mean, they didn't have power or anything like that. It was all dark and scary. So the superstitions arose from that. Basically, I suppose to keep people safe. That's what they think, that we invented God to keep us safe. But God is. He always was. He's the great I am. So so anyway, that's the Celtics. That's how it started. Is that they believe that on the night before the new year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred, and the ghosts would come out. So they had this Samhain festival to um, to kind of appease them. And so then by 43 AD, the Roman Empire moved in, and they had their own festivals, and they kind of incorporated their two main festivals with this Samhain. The first one was the Feralia. It's when the Romans commemorated the passing of the dead, and the other one was the day to honor Pomona, and she was the goddess of fruits and trees, and the symbol of Pomona is the apple, so that's probably where the bobbing for apples came from on Halloween, because fall is when apples are ready for harvest. So the Romans, they incorporated their little bit. So, and then on May 13th, 1609 AD, Pope Boniface IV dedicated the Pantheon in Rome to honor all of Christian martyrs, and the Catholic feast of All Martyrs' Day was established in the Western Church. Okay, this is where Christianity is going to take over Halloween. So Pope Gregory III later expanded the festival to include all saints as well as all martyrs, and moved the observance from May 13th to November 1st. So that's, if you've heard that November 1st is All Saints Day, it came from the Catholic Church way back in the 5th century. And because by this time, as Christianity spread through the world as the main religion, uh, um, the false gods and the pagan gods that people were worshiping were being replaced with, with Jesus. And if you remember the story of Elijah that I told you, remember he was there with the guys that honored Baal, and there was that whole fire thing anyway. So that's, the Christianity was the main religion of the time of the world, because we're at that time we're still in the Roman Empire, right? We're still in Europe. And yeah, so they took over. They called it All Saints Day. So Halloween would be the eve before Saints Day. So it would be All Hallows Eve, which Halloween. That's where that came from. And it was celebrated similar to the Samhain, with big bonfires, parades, dressing up in costumes. And the costumes were like of the saints and the angels and even the devil. Okay. And the All Saints Day celebration is also called All Hallows. Okay. So the traditional night was called All Hallows Eve because it would usher in All Saints Day the next day. So as the beliefs and the customs of different European ethnic groups came to America, and they meshed with the Indians that were here, a distinctly American version of Halloween began to emerge. Okay? And the first celebrations, it was banned in America, except for I think Maryland was the only state that was celebrating Halloween, and they would have play parties, which there were public events held to celebrate the harvest, and neighbors would share stories of the dead and tell each other's fortunes and dance and sing. Because there's also another folk story about Halloween where um, a single woman would be able to get her fortune read about when she would be married, like her husband and stuff like that. So anyway, these colonial these stupid pop-ups. The colonial festivals, they included the telling of ghost stories and mischief making of all kinds. I think that's where we get like trick or treating. So by the middle of the 19th century, which is the 1800s, annual autumn festivities were common, but Halloween was not yet celebrated everywhere in the country. Okay, and the new immigrants, especially the millions of Irish that were fleeing because of the Irish potato famine, um, they helped to popularize Halloween in America, in America, because it started with them, like the Irish Celtics and stuff like that. So yeah, with the Halloween parties, so all the Americans, they began to dress up in costumes and go house to house asking for food or money, um, and that was eventually known as trick or treating. And there, in the late 1800s, there was a move in America to mold Halloween into a holiday more about community and neighborly get-togethers than about ghosts, pranks, and witchcraft. And at the turn of the century, Halloween parties for both children and adults became the most common way to celebrate the day. Parties focused on games, foods of the season, and festive costumes. And the parents were encouraged by newspapers and community leaders to take anything frightening or grotesque, like the ugly, nasty, bloody mask things, out of Halloween celebrations. So it was actually a fun, clean thing, and now it's turning evil again. And so anyway, in between 1920 and 1950, the centuries-old practice of trick-or-treating was also revived. So, and here's a fun fact: Americans spend an estimated $6 billion annually on Halloween, and that is second only to Christmas, the amount of money that's spent on a celebration or a holiday. So Christmas is the big one, and then Halloween. Go figure. So anyway, when you look at history and things like King Solomon in Ecclesiastes, he determined that there's nothing new under the sun. Everything has been done before, and there might be a new twist on it because now in our age we have more technology and cultures have advanced and things, but still there's nothing new under the sun. That's what King Solomon said. So now Halloween is taking another turn back to the evil side where yeah, it's a chance to practice evil. And I know that a lot of people, like, the trend nowadays is because it's turning into a godless society. That doesn't mean God is gone. He is sovereign. This is his world. He's there. He knows everything. He's all present, all knowing, all powerful, and that will not change. So even though there's stuff is moving around and getting all messy, he's aware of it and he's allowing it to happen because he has a plan. Okay? So where was I going with this? Oh yeah, things happen again. So Halloween again is turning into like the evil thing. And the trend nowadays, that's where I was going. The trend nowadays is like evil isn't seen as evil anymore. Like evil is being romanticized. And things like vampires and witches and things like that is, I have all my notes here. I'm just reading. So okay, witches. I know there's a lot of controversy about witches. They're Wiccans, and they use herbs and whatever, but they still have spells. And I know I'm going to get in trouble for this, but whatever. This is what I believe. Just like what you believe is what you believe. This is what I believe, and my beliefs are based on scripture. Witches are evil. I mean, it's even outlined in the Bible in several different passages. Of course, I didn't look it up in time because I'm going off the cuff here. Witches and vampires and werewolves and zombies and mummies and all the ghosts and all those kinds of things are coming back into Halloween and coming back um, into culture again. I think as more people are turning away from Jesus and God, like the great I am, and turning back to lesser gods and maybe even some pagan gods again, and like the witchcraft, they but it's still evil, you know. Um, Vampires are evil. They're not just a different group of people, and we need to accept them. They're evil. Like it says they're evil. And yeah, we need to do more talking about evil and good again because it's kind of getting all, it's not black and white. It's getting all gray. And I think as Christians, it's our duty to voice when things are evil. Call it what it is. It's evil, and people aren't going to like us, and we'll be scorned and persecuted, and maybe even shunned and shut out of people's lives. But yeah, I mean, the truth of the Bible is the truth, and that will never change. And God is not going anywhere. This is His world. He's got a plan, and if you don't know Jesus, then you're not going to be on the good side of that plan. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it, is that, Jesus came to save us and give us salvation. And if you haven't accepted Him as your Savior and received the forgiveness that He came to bring, then yeah, get used to the dark. Well, I guess it's not dark because there's supposed to be flaming fires and all this other kind of stuff, but get used to a world where there's no love, where there's no God, and God's wrath is all that will be experienced. Anyway, happy Halloween. I hope you liked my history lesson. Until next time, God bless.